Hello, hello again, ladies. Chrissy Hannes coming to you live once more in the Global Inspiration Stamp Team for the last day of the 12 days of holidays. I wanted to get on and share my tip with you guys. Pull myself up here. Oh, that's my other video where I about knocked my stand over. All right, let me refresh this and see if I can find myself. Make sure I'm in the right place. Oh, yep, there I am. Okay, so Katie showed the other day how she makes her stencils using the acetate paper, but you can only use the punches. So I wanted to share with you how I use our dies, and obviously we cut out the arch and we stamp on this, we cut out the circle, we stamp on this, put a sentiment, whatever. But I wanted to show you how I use the negative side to make a background as well. So I've die cut a stylish shape, which is the largest circle, and the second to largest everyday arches dies. But then I realized I need something to put under it. So hold tight just a second. I had it right here, I just didn't finish cutting. So I'm gonna go 4 by 5 1/4 on each of them. So there's one. And I use, for my stencil, I use thick basic white, just because it's a little bit sturdier. You could use any color cardstock, anything that'll cut a die out. So then I put this on my paper, right? So kind of where I would think I'd want it, because I always adjust it. But you want it covered. So I usually cut my stencil bigger than my paper. And I didn't do that this time, so it's okay though. But it's gonna be off. But this is just for showing purposes. So you want your stencil piece to be bigger than your bottom layer so that this doesn't stick out. So mine is not going to be centered, but again, I'm just showing this you as a demo. So I'm gonna cover it up completely, like so, okay? And then I'm gonna bring in some Post-it tape just to hold it in place. Like this. And you do want like a grid sheet or something, scrap paper underneath, so that you don't get ink everywhere. Okay, so now I'm just going to use my blending brushes to create a background. I'm going to start with my Coastal Cabana, one of my favorite colors ever. I'm going to grab my blending brush, and I just got ink all over my fingers. Great. And I'm going to put some ink on my blending brush. I'm going to start off on my grid paper to get some of that color off, and then I'm just going to work my way on to my circle, and I'm going to blend. Okay, you want to go light-handed. You can always add more, but you can't take away. Okay, so there we've got some Coastal Cabana, and my under paper shifted a little bit. You could always tack that down with like some seal so that it stays in place. And now I'm going to bring in, let's bring in Melon Mambo. Melon Mambo. And I've got a brush, grab some ink, probably shaking the table, get some of that ink off, and come on very light-handed. And you'll see I'm getting 3 colors in there because they're blending together. So you want to use colors that will look good together. So now I'm getting kind of that purpley in there. And honestly, these are just my samples just to show you how I create a stencil. I mean, we sell stencils, but we don't sell them in everything. Joe showed the snowflake ones. Those are pretty. And then you just lift it off, and there you have a beautiful background. So that could almost be used as a sunset. That's pretty. Okay, so there's that. And then we'll do the same thing with the arch one. Yes, dear?
I already lost my first hat.
You lost it? Mm-hmm. Is it not down there at the end of the table? So again, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to tack this down. And I need to go grab a different color brush.
Not anymore.
So here my edges are showing just a little bit, but I can trim those down. Okay, I don't know.
Can I make 2 more?
No, I'm not making you 2 more with my good paper. No, ma'am.
Just 1.
Hold on, I gotta grab a brush.
Hope I do someday.
I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Okay, I needed a green brush. Wanted to swap this up the second time around. Okay, so I've got my everyday arch in there, and I used this about a month and a half ago on a swap card using Thankful Garden, and this is the flower that I used. So I wanted my background to go at an angle so that it was green for the leaves and then pink for the flowers. So I'm going to start with my pink, grab a little more ink, and I'm just going to softly come in about at an angle, at a diagonal, and fill in this pink. Okay, and I like how that looks. So then we'll close this one up so we don't make a mess. So I'm trying to think of other, you could use this with the textured note dies, Spotlight on Nature, any of our retired dies that are shapes like our squares, our deckled rectangles, all of them, if you have them, you can make them into a stencil. Okay, so now I've got Granny Apple Green. I'll lightly come in here and fill in the bottom. And this one might be a little off. I might have put too much pink. Like this. And again, okay, I can trim this off where I got pink ink up here. And then is all I would do is grab my memento, which it's right here. Do I have a block big enough? That's the question. I had it earlier today. Let's see if I can find it under this craft lunch. I can. Okay, so this just creates a really pretty background. And then I grab my flower, and it's big. It's a big flower. And I just kind of line it up so you can see where my pinks and my greens are. Ooh, just like that. I'm gonna put this on the block. Uh-oh, showed through on there. Must not have been very clean. I'm gonna ink this up. So you'll notice this is my black ink pad. This was our white craft ink pad that is sold empty with the refill, and I just put my black ink in it instead. And then you just kind of line up where you think you want it, and you stamp it. Like that. So, oh, can I move it up on the mat? Yes, Maureen. I was coloring, so I didn't think about it. So, again, I just laid my stencil on here that I cut out. Obviously, I saved these for other projects. And I just created my very own background, right? So unlike Katie's, the acetate, obviously you could reuse this a couple times, but it is going to wear down because it's paper. But it's just another way to use the negative space of your dies, right? It does make a mess, so make sure you protect your table, right? And then I really thought this one looks like a sunset. Isn't that pretty? So I think with this one, I would do it a little different next time, and I would use the textured notes that are more rectangular, because we have this beautiful new stamp set from $1 Million Achiever Sharon Armstrong, and she made it to work with the markers, which unfortunately are now on the retirement list. And you cannot put Stampin' Blends on here because it will ruin your rubber. So, but if I would have done this the right length,